welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you an interview I had with Elisha Graham. She has 25 years experience in education, and she's going to give us some tips for how to balance distance learning. Stay tuned. Didn't get to actually physically connect in quite a while, but I remember working with you years ago. I was like a black woman in power. As the principal, I was like, this is really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Area that was, Elk Grove is becoming more diverse, but at the time, especially that area wasn't really diverse.
Nope.
So to have you in that situation and seeing you, it was like, that's encouraging.
Well, thank you, because it was a unique season. You said not as diverse as it has grown to be. So I felt the same way with you coming in, just seeing more, Black women, women of color in the field was exciting. And I'm glad we've just been able to stay in contact all these years later. It's a blessing.
Yeah, it's been, goodness, I think maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just jump right into it.
Okay.
I know you, so just give the viewers some background on your experience in education.
Sure. So hello, my name's Ilesha Graham, and I am in the field of education. I'm going to date myself. It has been over 25 years that I've been in the field of education. I've done everything from teaching. I have a multiple subject and a special ed credential, so I taught in both of those arenas, and then went into administration, was a high school assistant principal, elementary assistant principal, and then we met when I was an elementary principal. And then I kind of took a different little journey, and I went into higher ed for a while, and then was consulting with schools around equity and diversity issues, and that was great. But being on the road was hard, and my family's like, we miss you. My husband's like, I need you home. So I transitioned back into K-12 education. So now I work in Stockton as the director of educational services, which is a fancy way of saying I supervise principals. I've got 14 principals in schools that I supervise, and just, help them provide, education for their students.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a lot in 25 years. Let me just say, you look really good. I'm not just saying that. So we didn't know.
Well, thank you. Because then, outside of that, this too, there's like the speaking part of what I do with the podcasting and, all these different things that also kind of fuel, just kind of fuel my soul and purpose. But yes, 25 years in education as I think about that. Yes.
That's amazing. Right now, we are going through unprecedented times. It's quarantine. Distance learning. If you would have asked anybody, and I'm sure in 25 years, I'm sure you could probably say you've never seen anything like this. So, what is one thing that you would say to parents to kind of ease their nerves and their fears and things that they're kind of going, I know that I'm actually feeling better than I was because it's been a few months now, but I have an older child. But I'm hearing from a lot of parents and different mothers and parenting groups that I'm a part of, there's a lot of fears, a lot of nerves about distance learning and everything. So what's just one thing, if you can narrow down one thing to kind of encourage and help parents?
Gosh, it's hard to narrow down to one, but what I hear a lot from parents is this feeling of there's two things I hear. One is a lot around my child's going to be behind. They're missing so much of regular school, regular instruction. What they're getting at home isn't the same that they would get in the classroom. And what I have been sharing with parents is we're all in this together, right? There's nobody who's getting more behind than anyone else. We're all navigating this together. We're all experiencing this disruption together. We're all sorting it out together. So there is no behind, right? There's nobody who's fast tracking through this. We're all working through it together. And so all of our children are going to be, really in the same space together. So some of that anxiety around my child's going to be behind, my child's not going to be, there's no one to catch up to, right? There's no one to be behind. So just easing some of that tension, and then recognizing there's so much that our children get even if like school at home doesn't look perfect, which we know it doesn't, and we know that parents they didn't go to school to be teachers, and most of our friends did not plan to be homeschooling parents, and so they've just really been thrust into this. So giving yourself grace. No one's expecting it to be perfect or to look perfect or to, for you to be the perfect teacher, but just doing the best you can and recognizing there's so many things that your child can glean outside of books. Even just them helping things with, cooking in the kitchen. There's science, right? There's math, there's all of those things that are involved, or just learning skills that they may not get in school, or, opportunities to, build things, create things, doing, kind of using maybe some different parts of their brain that are just as educational as pen and paper. So just knowing that they're still learning and they're still growing, and we're just going through it together.
I love that, because I think that especially last year was my first year of teaching, and it was unprecedented. So of everything that's going on and some of my life situation, I decided to take a little break. And the thing that I kind of felt was like, okay, how do you teach kids when they're not in front of you? And I love those ideas, is that kind of bringing in some different things. My daughter was cooking dinner, and she did that like twice, and she had some excitement about looking up recipes and stuff. So I can definitely, for me personally, see that that's something positive that we can see out of all of this. And I would also say, I also wanted to ask is, how would you advise parents that are kind of struggling balancing working from home? I mean, it was a little bit easier for me because things were flexible, but I know there's a lot of parents who don't really have flexible schedules and hours to be able to balance their kids being at home, trying to do distance learning, trying to get their job requirements finished. So kind of, do you have some advice for parents on that?
I think, and probably what I will preface everything is giving yourself grace, because it's not going to be as smooth as you would like. And if you are like me and you're kind of more of a type A personality, like a lot of structure, it's unsettling. But looking at, trying to find some structures that you can put into place. And even if that's time of having to say, this is mom or dad's work time, and so when we're working, we're going to need you to be involved in, these other activities that you can do independently, trying to structure things that way. And then also recognizing that you do have flexibility oftentimes in the day. So, maybe you don't have to wake your child up at 5, 6 in the morning to get them going, and you can use that as, a time to kind of get your own day going and let them sleep in a little later or start their day a little later, so you've had some time to kind of get your own self going with work. And then also maybe your time of supporting your child is, later in the evening. So you just have to figure out what works best for your schedule, and take this as an opportunity to flex what their school day looks like. I know teenagers really appreciate this, that they don't have to get up as early. Science said it's actually more beneficial for them to sleep in later. So let them and let their schedule kind of slide a little later in the day. And then recognizing there's lots of opportunities for learning resources that are online, things that you can provide for your child to do independently, so that you can try to, flex some of that work day.
Wow, that's a great idea. I know that when we did the distance learning, my teenager did enjoy that. I said, as long as you're up by 9, you're good, and she was fine with that. And then she had some Zoom classes that weren't till 11. So she really enjoyed, okay, I don't have to get up at 6:30 or 7. I can sleep until 9 and kind of direct it. So that's really great. I think that also, I love the fact of giving grace, because I'm similar to that. It's like, okay, am I measuring up? I can relate to that. Am I measuring up to whatever they're supposed to do and supposed to be at, or whatever? It's like, are they measuring up? And I think that a lot of parents are really going to get a lot from that. I hope you enjoyed the conversation that I had with Elisha Graham. She gave such great tips for parents. I know that I'm going to really use these tips. I know I say that on every video, but it's so true. I try to find those that have the most information and experience to share with you. This is unprecedented time. We're going to have to learn how to balance this new normal. I know a lot of us don't like to hear that, but I love how Elisha balanced the difficulties of this situation with positive things. I also want to take a moment to draw your attention to my new shirt. It's Genius is the New Black. This is from the Dope Kid Fest site. She has wonderful resources for children, and I am going to link that in the description. If you're looking for a way to include diversity in the education plan for your children, her site and the resources she has there are great things for you to use. All right, last but certainly not least, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and happy savings!